Hare Krishna. Welcome to a brand new episode on Folk Life on Transcendental Thursday. एग्ज़ाम का सीज़न है, स्ट्रेस बढ़ रहा है, एंग्जाइटी बढ़ रही है. So how do you go through this painful situation and come out successful? In today's session, we'll try to take few insights from Bhagavad Gita and practical tips from my personal example. We'll discuss and ponder about this. Before we start, नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशधारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Life is full of exams, and the stress behind the exams are even more stressful. Even today, at times, after practicing Krishna consciousness for more than 20 years, at times, rarely, I get a dream wherein you're not prepared for the examination and there is very little time to study and there's a panic. Or the stress of getting the batsman out on the last over's last ball with 1 run to win. This is what in a youngster or a student or a current generation, other stressful ways makes him go through this pain and agony of handling pressures. Arjuna was also in a similar situation. Of course, his situation was much more difficult, challenging, and tiring than what we have it today. He had to wage a battle in which he had to face his own kinsmen, his brothers, his cousins, and his own dear guru and his grandfather. But when he was not able to handle the pressure, the first and the foremost important thing which Arjuna did was he consulted his dearmost friend and a mentor, Sri Krishna, to help him out. Most of us, when we go through challenges and difficulties and pains, we don't seek out mentors, we don't seek out guru, we try to handle it on our own. Or we seek some so-called mentors who are actually our not so well-wishers. So one of the foremost learning from Arjuna's action is we have to consult a bona fide authority. Here, in our case, the authority is very clear and crystal. He is Krishna himself. If we make a habit of reading Bhagavad Gita and follow the footsteps of Arjuna, being a devotee, then crust and troughs will come in our life. Ups and downs will be there. Tsunamis and earthquakes will be there in our lives, but will not be bewildered by such situations in life. We'll be rock solid. So that is the message of Bhagavad Gita. And that state, when one attains, is a very special state, very significant state, which not easily achievable. And that state is called Brahma Bhuta stage. Brahma Bhuta prasannatma na shochati na kankshati. It's a state where a living entity is not hankering nor lamenting. Samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim lavate param. He never laments nor desires to have anything, is equally disposed to every living entity. In that state, he attains pure devotional unto me. And one who is thus transiently situated at once realizes the Supreme Brahman. Of course, this is a little philosophical and much more better angle is there in this particular verse. I'm just talking about the aspect of Brahma Bhuta. Or let us go to this is in the 18th chapter. Let us go to the 2nd chapter, 47 verse. The stress arises because we have an unrealistic expectation of ourselves. Either we create ourselves, or by comparing others we create ourselves, or our peers and parents or colleagues or others makes that temp or bar high so that we think we cannot achieve. And there's undue pressure, undue stress, and there's a high amount of tension to perform. And then we feel that when you are not able to perform, we give up. Recently, a teenager in Kota said, "Mama, I can't handle this. I quit. Please, sorry for this," and jumps from the building and commits suicide. Painful reality. Every now and then, in an hour, many of them are committing suicide because they are not able to handle pressure. Now, how do we handle pressure? When we have this blessings and confidence, there is someone behind me who's the most powerful, who's the most knowledgeable, who's the most famous, who's the most wealthiest, who's the most renunciant, and the most beautiful. Bhagavan, Sri Krishna. And he says to his devotee, Ma Shuchaha, do not fear. I'll take care of you. You just surrender unto me. Or in another place where Krishna says, I give what you lack and I preserve what you have. Yoga Kshemam Mahamyam. I'll personally take care of you. But he has a condition. Then he becomes Prasannatma. But the condition what he puts across to attain that state, that confidence which he'll give it to us, that empowerment what he gives to us, like he gave it to Arjuna so that he could defeat Atirathis and Maharathis single-handedly in 18 days, is Ananya Chintayantosmam. Ananya Chintayantosmam. You have to consistently remember him. Sarvadharman Paritajya Mam Ekam Sharanam. You have to surrender unto him. Now, how do we surrender to Krishna in this age of Kali? We cannot. Ananya Chintayantos is difficult. Satatam Yuktanam is difficult. Completely surrender is difficult. So hence the Acharyas have made it very simple for all conditioned souls like us in Kali Yuga. If you chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra every single day, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, you can feel the presence of the Lord Krishna in your life. And if you put an endeavor to read the Bhagavad Gita every single day, then there's a transformation. It is not mere sentiment or mere word jugglery or understanding of the minds based on this. It's our natural constitutional position because we are part and parcel of the Supreme Lord. Mama Ivamsho Jiva Loka Jiva Bhuta Sanatanaha. We are his eternal anshas. We are designed, made like that. We are his anshas. When we serve him, remember him, and it is our natural position to depend on the Father for everything. That's not a sign of weakness. That is natural. And there's a process to depend. Just like I remember I had a fight with one of my friend, and he was very heavily built. And he was quite elder to me. I was quite younger to him, maybe 3-4 years younger to him. And I had a fight maybe in 8th standard or 7th standard. I bet him left, right, center, like a typical kid. And I ran away from that spot. He was chasing me. And I rushed towards my home, opened the door and caught hold of my father's hand. And that boy chased in. He reached my house. He knocked the door. He came inside. But he was not able to do anything because I was holding my father's hand. I was so confident, laughing with full confidence that my father will protect me. That's what happens, Brahma Bhuta, when you have that confidence that Krishna is there with you. Now, it doesn't mean that Lord will come and write your examination. It doesn't mean that Lord will come and perform your project. That doesn't mean that Lord can come and work for you. Just like Arjuna was asked to do the same thing. Think of me and fight. Ma Manusmara Yuddhacha. Now, how do you do Ma Manusmara is by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and then study cha, Mamanuspara, work cha, Mamanuspara, whatever activity you have. Then you're in that state, you'll not be affected by the outcome of the result. Just like as I said in the second chapter, 47th verse, Karmanye vadikaraste. You have a right to perform your duty, but you're not entitled for the fruits of action. Now the pressure and the tension and the anxiety builds up when you have goal and targets. You should have, but you're after the fruit, you're not after the process. Whether it your studies or examination, you have different ways to go through the examination. I'm not going to tell you, abhi aise padho, abhi notes banao, subah utھ ke repeat karo. I'm not. You are for much more better equipped than to hear suggestions from me, or you can get it from so many portals on the internet. How to study better, how to memorize better, how to crack the examination. But with doing all these things, we should have this confidence. That confidence comes that I have my boss, my father, my friend, my mentor, Sri Krishna, always with me. So that's what Parikshit Maharaj asked, Parikshit Maharaj shared to Shukadeva Goswami this aspect, where he compared the Kauravas, the entire assembly of warriors, Drona, Karna, Jayadratha, Bhishma, Atirathis and Maharathis. He compared them to Timinglas in the ocean. And he compared his father, Arjuna, to be a small fish. And he was able to defeat all of them, become victorious, hero in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, because Krishna was on his side. Just like they say, don't tell the problem how, they say something like, tell the problem how big is your Lord. Something like that WhatsApp messages keep forward. It makes sense. And the dependence is shown by your dependence on the Lord by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. And somebody is even weaker than that. Then it is said, when we depend on the Lord completely, not for our personal gratification. As a matter of duty, we can all do that. But that is not an highest state of devotional practice. We should not pray to the Lord or cry for the Lord's help for our benefit, material benefit, for our exams or for our studies or for our jobs or for our any material things. It's a mercantile deal which Krishna doesn't like. And Krishna also says in the Gita, 4 types of people come to me. What are the 4 kinds of people? Who are in distress, who are in need of money, who are inquisitive, and who's in knowledge. The first 2, after getting their distress over, after their money being gotten, the financial problems got over, they forget Lord. But the Lord still appreciates them, still they come to me. So in that case, you're still far more better than those people who go to someone else or try to handle things on their own. Otherwise, what's there in your package, it's going to come. We should perform our duty as a matter of duty, not hanker for the fruits. And the fruits, whenever you get it, we should give it back to the Lord by giving credit to the Lord, that this is what the Lord's gift is. Without His blessings, without His guidance, without His sanctioning, it will not happen. And the sanction of the Lord happens, and He intervenes in the devotee's life when we are devotees. To the degree of our becoming devotee, He interferes. Otherwise, there are 5 factors of success. Place of action, 18th chapter, 13, 14. Your senses, your endeavor. And finally, the supreme soul, the super soul, the supreme personality of Godhead. If He doesn't sanction, although all the 4 things are in place, it will not work. The Lord is the Panchamam sanctioner. For that to happen, you have to become a devotee. And He, again, I said, repeat, He sanctions, He intervenes based on your surrender. Otherwise, for normal conditioned souls who are not devotees, who don't want to be devotees, it purely depends on their karma. Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. You have a right to perform your duty, but not entitled for the results of your action. Never consider yourself with the cause of the result of your actions. And never be not attached for not doing your duty. That means you should be attached for doing your duty, but not the particular result. You should have your goals, you work hard, taking all precautions, whatever, for exams or studies or your jobs or whatever. But main important point is to remember the Lord. Even if there is failure, you will not be affected by the failure itself. Even there is success, you will not be affected by the success, because Both may happen, may not happen based on our endeavor. Sometimes exams also doesn't happen. Like, exam gets postponed, exam gets cancelled, example. So there are so many other factors to achieve success. If you know this reality, this knowledge, then you'll be sober. That makes a really a common sense understanding. So another important thing you should understand, mindfulness. Prabhupada emphasized the importance of being present at the moment, fully engaging in our activities. That is 2.47. You have the right to perform your, when you perform your right fully mindfully, whether it is chanting or reading, we should do mindfully. In the same activities also, as a matter of duty, we should do mindfully. And we can cultivate a focused and attentive mindset that helps us deal with stress more effectively by practicing a chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Of course, this is not a is recommended for, but still byproduct is naturally outcome. Byproduct is a natural outcome of enhanced concentration. When you chant Hare Krishna and hear, then you soulfully chant your rounds, automatically other things will manifest. You don't have to separately endeavor for it. And when you chant Hare Krishna attentively, you are away from the distractions because of your higher taste in Krishna consciousness. Naturally, you'll have more time for any other activity. And whatever material activity which you have to do to maintain your life and soul together, body and soul together, that will happen smoothly. You'll not be superly excited like rest of the world. ये कैसा कर ले तुम चिल रहते हो कैसे भाई भाई हमारे पास कृष्णा है. That is the secret of success. And in another place, in the Bhagavad Gita 6th chapter, 20th verse, if I remember, there's a very beautiful thing which Krishna explains, 20 to 23, where the stage of Samadhi, this is a little high thing, it is compared to what I are sharing, is all very minuscule and insignificant. He says the stage of perfection is called Samadhi, trance, when one's mind is completely restrained from material mental activities by practice of yoga. Now, as a student, as a professional, our minds are getting distracted by so many things: mobiles, social media apps, people around us, the news channels, and politicians. Today, election season, everyone is trying to capture our attention. They want our attention. Either dekho, I want to tell you something. Either dekho, I want to tell you something. Either dekho, I want your attention. Either dekho, I want your paisa. Either dekho, I want your emotion. Either dekho, I want your love. Everyone wants to capture our attention. When you perform yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, you say, I don't want to get into any of your traps. I just want to get attracted to Krishna. I want to be attracted to Krishna. I want the attention of Krishna. Hence, I give attention to Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna Mantra attentively. That is called trance. That is called Samadhi. Further, this is characterized by one's ability to see the self by pure mind, to relish and rejoice in the self. In the joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, enjoys himself through transcendental senses, established then one never departs from the truth. And upon gaining, he thinks, there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken, even in midst of greatest difficulty. Exam क्या चीज़ है? Project deadline क्या चीज़ है? Election results क्या चीज़ है? He said, being situated in that position is never shaken, even in the greatest midst of the greatest difficulty. This indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from the material contact. Material contact means the Atma comes in touch with the material energy. We identify with the body, and all this anxiety, stress, pain, difficulties, challenges, agony, it's all because of the misidentification of the self with the body. It's all stemming from the body, but spirit has nothing to do with this. And when he's in that state, and that state can be attained by every one of us, irrespective of what we do. You don't have to be a monk full-time in the temple to do so. If you can chant 16 rounds attentively, hearing each and every syllable, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, read Bhagavad Gita, and we avoid this 4 sins of intoxication, illicit sex, gambling, and meat eating, then the kind of consciousness you will get is the consciousness Krishna is promising that. And everyone can attain that. You don't have to give up your family. You don't have to go to forest or on the Himalayas or do take up austerities like the previous ages simply by chanting. That's a power of chanting Hare, because Krishna himself is present in the holy name in that format. So when you associate with the Lord, these purification automatically happens. Mindfulness, concentration, all the good, great qualities, even which the Devatas attain, will automatically manifest in the heart of a devotee to the degree he wants it. Of course, the devotees are not interested in all these byproducts. not interested in anything other than unalloyed pure devotional service. Still, since we are not in that stage, still by ena kena prakarana, still we are able to chant Hare Krishna for even that mental gain. Still, we should chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra only. Just like Srimad Bhagavatam, elsewhere it's mentioned in that great literature, Akamava, you have no desire. Sarvakama, you have all desires. Moksha Kama, you have desire to get liberated. In either, in all three cases, or all, any of one of the cases, whatever your case is, Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. Tivra means intense devotional service to Krishna has to be performed. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena. Yoga, which we tell, Bhakti Yogena. Tivrena Bhakti Yogena Yajate Purusham Param. Then it happens perfectly. Otherwise, no, it will not happen. And most important thing as an individual, you should reflect, self-reflect. Importance of introspecting and self-awareness is very important as devotees. By reflecting on our thoughts, actions, and motivations, we can gain insight into our inner world and make positive change in our lives. And that introspection, that contemplation should be based on these literatures, through this understanding, through the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, to the teachings of Krishna. Because self-reflection, helps us to understand what is our strengths, what is our weakness, where I fall, where I rise, what is my pleasure points, where do I get charmed, whether it is taking me to hell or to the kingdom of God. So all these things will happen, and you'll get a clear thought to navigate through challenges. And as Krishna says in elsewhere in the 6th chapter, I think it's the 5th verse. I just want to quote it for you. Very wonderful verse, which I felt I should share with you people. He says, about the mind. Krishna in many places speaks about the mind. See, that's what Krishna does when we read Bhagavad Gita. He opens up those knowledge, makes us understand. The self-reflection becomes very stronger. He says, a man must elevate himself by his own mind, not degrade himself. The mind is a friend of the conditioned soul, an enemy as well. We are not, forget about spiritual life, forget about what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Even for our material advancement, benefit, we have to make our mind the best of the friend. But today, unfortunately, all of our mind is the greatest enemy, and is harming us left, right, and center, black, white, and blue. And we are not able to even know about it. Hence, we should have a friend like Krishna who inserts Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra in the form of the spiritual master who mentors us, who guides us. Then we'll be able to make the mind the best friend by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The mind can be controlled by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and intelligence can be strengthened by this thought-provoking knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, and then we'll have a smooth ride. Smooth ride means, it doesn't mean that problems will get solved. You will not be affected the problem. You will face the problem as a courageous, as a chivalrous warrior like Arjuna, but no, you will not step back. Result, victory or defeat, you will not be bothered. You will not be affected. That's what Krishna wants us to. And you get that inner strength coming. Inner strength comes from within, from our connection to our spiritual essence, the understanding of being the spirit, by cultivating deep relationship with the Supreme Lord. And that relationship can be cultivated by swadhyaya, of understanding, because Krishna reveals his mind in this Bhagavad Gita. With the divine nurturing, when we read this Bhagavad Gita, the inner strength empowers us to face life's challenges with courage, with resilience, and with grace. As Krishna says again in the 18th chapter, I think 57th verse, yes, 57th verse, he says, in all activities, this is the final verse of today's session which I've marked down here. In all activities, just depend upon me. Work always under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. Chetasa sarvakarmani mai sannyasa matparaha buddhi yoga upashritya matchitta satatam bhava. He's throughout the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling, you're my son, you're my Ansha. I have a process to help you out, either in this world or in the next, either for everything, for both material and spiritual advancement, one should depend on Krishna like this, fully conscious. And fully conscious we can all become simply by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And when we don't do so, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he warns, he gives a threat. I'll tell you, I think in the next verse, or it is there, yes, 58th verse, yes, 58th verse. He says, Mat chitta sarva durgani mat prasadat tarishyasi ata chetvam ahankaram na shoshyasi vinakshyasi. After telling very politely, decently, प्यार से बात करने के बाद भगवान यहाँ पे warn कर रहा है, threat कर रहा है. What he says? If you become conscious of me, how do you become conscious of me? Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, reading Bhagavad Gita, avoiding the four sins, talking to devotees, taking guidance from me. If you become conscious of Krishna, you will pass over all obstacles of conditions life. Obstacle may be your exams, obstacle may be your relationship, obstacle may be your professional life, your health crisis, whatever it is. You will pass over all obstacles of conditioned life by my grace. Next one karta hai. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but act through false ego, not hearing me, you will be lost. Abhi tumko jo karna hai kar le. So become conscious of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna, reading Bhagavad Gita, following the four regulations, and you will cruise through those challenges and be victorious in life's struggles and hardships, and eventually go back home, back to Godhead without doubt. He promises that. Satyam te, he promises that. Okay? So with this, I stop. If you have any questions or comments, I will be very happy to take up. Hare Krishna.